Hi guys, it's Mama Doe Dawn, and I am a single mom attempting to pay off $55,600 of debt. And in the middle of my debt-free journey, where things were already getting really bad for me, COVID-19 hit. And these are the financial lessons I learned the hard way during this pandemic. First thing that I think we all learned during this time, the entire world learned, is be prepared for the unprepared. The last thing that I was anticipating was a pandemic to come through, my business to get closed, me to be like overrun with a ridiculous amount of debt and have no way to start paying it off. I now know that I have to anticipate really hard times in the future. Leads me to my second point, that a $1,000 emergency fund, which is what is recommended by the Dave Ramsey plan, is not enough. It was most certainly not enough for me, and it's not going to be enough if this ever happened again in the future. I want my emergency fund to be at least 2 months of 100% of my bills. That's what I want my emergency fund to be from now on. And I know in the midst of a debt-free journey, you want to focus a lot of your income on debt. Right now, I have $3,000 in my emergency fund, which is enough to cover 100% of my bills for 1 month. And that is truly where I'm kind of comfortable right now. I would never have $1,000 just sitting in there. That is not enough. $1,000 would lead me to financial devastation if something like this happened again. Which leads me to the next point, that my business is not a certain. Up until this point, I've always had steady growth within my business. My business has always been kind of the backbone of my financial stability. So to realize that my business is not guaranteed was a huge blow to my ego, quite frankly. Now I've always known that diversified incomes are very important, but now I see diversified incomes are vital. I have to have more than one source of income coming in. I would like to have at least 2 sources of income that are bringing in full-time income to me. So one source that's paying $3,000 a month, another source that's paying $3,000 a month, to ensure that if one source falls and fails, I have another source of income that can pick me up and get me through until that other source of income is again back up and running. I want to have enough diversified sources of income that if something quits working for me, I have a backup plan. One of the biggest things I've learned too is that financial stress debilitates me. Financial stress is overwhelming. It's exhausting. It physically zapped me. I felt just debilitated by financial hardship. You feel so out of control. One thing you can't do easily is just go out and make a bunch more money. Like, that's very hard to do. And I don't want to feel that crippling anxiety ever again in my entire life. Like, Dave Ramsey talks about a rock bottom, and I've mentioned before that the first time I started my debt-free journey, I wasn't on rock bottom. This right now is my rock bottom. I never, ever want to be back here again. Which leads me to the last and probably the biggest lesson that I've learned, is that I cannot lose sight of my financial goals. I have to be money focused until I am in a better position for Charlotte and I. I have to get this debt paid off. I have to have a good emergency fund set up for myself. I have to have regular steady growth within my business. I have to have diversified income streams. I have to be in a better financial situation. Up until this point, I was still fairly immature with money. I had this mentality that my business was always going to be there. I could go into a little bit of debt, but get myself back out of it again. And no, my business is not a guarantee. I have to look at money as a limited resource. It is not endlessly attainable to me, and I can't treat it that way anymore. COVID-19 has been a huge wake-up call, I think, to me and tons of other people, because I've seen the debt-free community grow drastically through this pandemic, which is great. It's awesome. But it's definitely been my rock bottom, and it's definitely showed me that I've got to make some serious changes, and I have to keep my financial goals at the forefront of my behavior from here on out. So yeah, that is how COVID-19 has personally affected my view on finances. And I'm sure it's had a huge effect on your own view on your own finances as well. So As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.